Just wanted to create this video. I recently purchased a E65 740i, and I noticed that there were quite a few videos about the problems people were having with the CD changer, the door opening, and the CD magazine not ejecting. I read through some forums, saw lots of different suggestions, and basically there is a design flaw. The door is actually very, very, very touchy. BMWs really like, the computers really like to know what everything's doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the diagnostics that I did in order to discover that this was actually the problem with my unit. As a lot of people said, the systems will occasionally play the CDs, but then upon attempting to eject, even whilst playing or not playing on different inputs, the CD drive would stay engaged. It would not allow the magazine to eject. Now, and what I basically discovered was that the circuitry built into the eject system, basically the door, the iDrive system does not know that the magazine unit was ready to be ejected because it assumed the door was closed. There is poor design here, I must admit. Every person getting into your car who's really excited by the giant door sitting in front of them in the passenger seat, they go and they stab their fingers in to the door, and then it closes. But in that motion of stabbing the door in, what they're actually doing is they're messing up the little gearing here. So I'm going to just pull this out. I'll link in the description how to get off the wooden strip here, and how to then remove the silver strip in order to access your CD drive. But once your changer is released, you simply withdraw it. Now, in order to repair this, there's a lot of fiddling around. You unplug your drive in the back very carefully. Those are 2 fiber channels plus electrics. In fact, if you mess that up there, your audio won't work because that is your loop through to your amplifier. But in the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you exactly what it is that fails. What you'll see here is you will see just in front here, there's the eject button and the door. And then just above, you have the very small black piece here is the slave gear for the door. This gear rotates and pulls that gear upwards, and that's what opens the door. Over time, this little metal strip that holds that gear in place fatigues, and it ever so slightly moves to the left. So when I open this up initially, I could see this gap here was significantly smaller. As you can see now, it's parallel to the plastic, but it was significantly smaller. You could actually see that it was moved over. And what that does, that allows this gear below to slip. And then this guy right here, this is the main gear drive that is driven by the motor, which opens and closes the door. That strip that sticks out is very important. Right down in here, right down in there where the screwdriver is currently pointing at, there's a micro switch. That little micro switch right there, there you go. Little brass tops, and then there's a piece sticking out. That micro switch is what tells the stacker that the door is open. And what happens is when you shove on the door, and this part here is fatigued, this little gear here spins without turning the motor. And in doing so, what it does is it brings this guy here completely out of sync. And as you can see, there's a mark here. That was not me. I don't know if that's BMW who made that mark, but basically it would seem that sync, when the door is shut, is that little mark has to be there or thereabouts in line with this top sprocket here, this little gear. So that when you press the eject button, which I'm going to do now, you press the eject button, watch what happens to that little micro switch. See how it pushed it? It goes around there and clicks. Now you can hear the drive clicking away, saying I haven't got anything in me. And what it's done is it's actually opened, ready to accept the magazine. So what we're going to do, so it's closed itself because you didn't give it anything. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the magazine. It does have CDs in it. These came with the car. It had been imported from Japan more than 4 years into New Zealand. In fact, yeah, I think it was 4 or 5 years ago that it was imported. And no one has ever repaired this because these discs in here are actually from the Japanese owner. The previous owners, there are 2 previous owners in New Zealand, and the previous owners just left the discs in. In fact, he said to me when I bought it, you can keep the discs. Well, of course I could. He couldn't get them out. So now what you do is you simply press the button, open goes the door, you insert into the drive until it goes click. Come on, there we go. And then the door begins, as you can see from the selection things here. The drive is now running through its auto selection process. It's detecting what's in each drive. The door's now shut. It's now happy with what you've given it. Happy days. Everybody's excited. And at any stage, if I press eject, the drive retracts, gives the disc, and ejects the magazine, which I can then withdraw. And then after a period of time, the drawer closes. So that is why your drives are getting stuck. There's absolutely nothing wrong with them aside from the poor design of this little system here. It's all done mechanically with a micro switch, and if your cog here gets out of sync, that is where you're going to discover you're going to have your problem. Okay guys, got the dash all back together. I should have shot it before so that you could match up the symptoms, but as I said, everything's all done. Press the button, door opens, magazine makes noise, insert cartridge, move your fingers, starts cataloging, closes the door. If you want to know how to take off all of the covers necessary to get your CD drive out, there are a number of videos on the internet already. Nathan over in the States and Dean, BMW doctor in the UK, have been a very big encouragement to me to see how many people are actually getting into doing their BMWs on their own. I never would have considered even purchasing a BMW until I saw those channels, so big shout out to those guys.